Hi guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I've got a little bit of a different video for you today. Today we are going to be talking about SEO and keywording and optimizing your listings for the platform. This is something I've gotten a ton of questions about. It's something I know quite a bit about. If you are not aware, I've been a professional marketer for over 20 years. And I've worked in the publishing industry, in the music industry, in the tech industry. I've worked in startups and I've consulted on Fortune 500 companies. So digital marketing and SEO and optimization is something I know quite a bit about. And when I decided to start focusing in on reselling, I took a lot of what I know from my experience into it. And I think that it'll be super valuable for all of you to understand these principles and apply them in your own business. So let's start from the very beginning here. What is SEO actually? If you have never heard the term, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And I'm going to speak to this first in a grander sense because basically what we're working with is a little bit of a microcosm of what SEO is kind of on a grander scale. SEO, search engine optimization, is literally the science of optimizing your entity, be it a website or in our case, a listing, for search engines, right? So we all know about Google. So say you go into Google and you type something, anything. Google is going to use what you type, apply an algorithm to it, and it's going to bring back a list of results. Those are called search engine results. And if you talk about the whole page, it's referred to as a search engine result page, also known as SERPs. So you want to be, as an entity, as a website, you always want to be on the first page of the SERPs. Ideally, you want to be the number one result in the SERPs. If you look at data on like the first result next to the second result, next to the third result, it goes exponentially down in terms of how many clicks each one gets. So it's really valuable if you're in that top spot. So SEO on a grand scale is many, many things. Most companies have at least one standalone employee that works on SEO, if not a whole team. Of course, it involves keywording. It also involves some back-end stuff like making sure that your site index is easy to read by bots. It involves getting quality backlinks. That means that you are getting a link to your page from a reputable website. For example, say you have a website selling microphones. I've got a microphone right in front of me. If you get a link from, say, the New York Times, which is a very reputable outlet, linking back to your website, that is a show of authority. So getting those quality backlinks. And there's a million other bits and pieces. It really is a science. So you heard me mention the word algorithm, and the algorithm is truly the secret sauce. And when you're dealing with search engines, each search engine has a different algorithm. It is usually closely guarded because if you know how the algorithm works, you can game it. But if you are operating really above board with this and you're not trying to employ any gimmicks, just having quality content is going to get you most of the way there. So why do we care about SEO? We're just on Poshmark, we're just on eBay, we're just on Mercari. Well, guess what? They are all search engines. Anything with a search bar that's going to take what you enter into the search bar and go through a series of potential results, that's a search engine. It's a smaller search engine. It's not searching the entire internet like Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo is, but it is still a search engine. So the nicer that you play with the algorithms for each of these individual platforms, the better off your listings are going to perform. And in a situation like we're in, where these platforms are becoming a little bit more saturated, if you are optimizing your listings, you are going to be able to give yourself the edge in a saturated market. So when we're dealing with something like a Poshmark or a Mercari or an eBay or a Depop, what you're dealing with is a closed platform. So what that means is when you are typing something into a search bar, it's only going to return results from inside that page, which means that really the tool from SEO that we have to work with is keywords. You don't have the opportunity to change the underlying, fascia of the listing page, but you do have control over what you put into each of the different spaces on the page, right? So let's play with those keywords and let's talk about how we figure it out. Let's talk about where we put them, and let's really get those things optimized. Let's start a little bit farther back to when you're sourcing. When you are sourcing something, you really want to think about how you can list it. Like, what about this garment is going to be able to be verbalized in keywords, right? So let's take the white t-shirt example here. So there are billions of white t-shirts in this world. Some of them are Fruit of the Loom, some of them are Gucci, and some of them are Gucci that have had the tags removed. Let's talk about why we would or wouldn't purchase these shirts to start with, thinking always about keywording, right? Because this matters. You know, if you can't keyword something, if you can't get eyes on your listing, it's not going to sell. I don't care how nice it is. All right, we've got the Fruit of the Loom t-shirt. If that is something that you sell a lot of, cool. Like, pick it up. As long as you get it at the right price, you can sell it. You know what it is. It's a white Fruit of the Loom crew neck short sleeve t-shirt, or a V-neck short sleeve t-shirt in great condition. Cool. People search for that, you're good. If you have a Gucci white t-shirt, great. You've got, you know, it's Gucci, it's crew neck, it's short sleeve, it's Pima cotton, it's whatever. Great. 100% I would buy that, and I would pay up. Of course, it's Gucci. Now, if you have a t-shirt that you suspect might be Gucci, it feels just like the Gucci t-shirt, but it doesn't have the tag in it. It's something I would hesitate to pick up, because the Gucci in the Gucci t-shirt is going to be what sells that listing. You can say that it's Pima cotton, high quality, whatever, all you want, but if it's unbranded and it's a white t-shirt, chances are people are going to pass right by it and go to the next one. You know, when it comes to things that are like unbranded, obviously a brand is one of the most powerful keywords because people seek out brands. But if you are shopping and you find things that don't have brands, it better have enough about the garment that you can list and use as keywords to get those eyeballs to your listing. So let's pretend we're shopping and you come across this little beauty. So if you are sitting down and you are not sure about what to put into your listing as keywords, I want you to kind of step back and pretend that you are looking for that exact piece. What words will you type into the search bar to find it, right? That's the easiest way to really think about keywording. So for this, for example, it would be cream, cotton, open weave, sleeveless sweater vest with a V-neck, oversized. All of these words are great keywords. When they're used together, they're even more powerful. Now, people will say the Poshmark algorithm is different than the eBay algorithm, is different than the Mercari algorithm, and that's absolutely true. If you keyword thoroughly, it will work for all of the different algorithms, because at the end of the day, they're all doing the same thing. They want to get you the most relevant results for what you are searching for. Yes, they operate a little bit differently, but they're all trying to do the same thing, and if you use keywords correctly, it should operate similarly inside all of these different algorithms. So what I tell people to do as they are starting out is to step back and just like pretend, pretend you are searching for that specific item and write out every word that you can think of to describe that piece, right? So a white t-shirt, it's pretty finite. It's a white t-shirt, short sleeve crew neck. That's about where that ends. That's why I always like to use that white t-shirt example, because it is so like stark of a contrast, where something like this has a lot going for it. You just look at it, it doesn't, but it's, it's got the open weave, it's cotton, it's sleeveless, it's V-neck, it's oversized. And when it comes to figuring out your keywords, if you feel a little bit adrift when you're starting this out, and I promise you, the more you do it, this will become second nature. But when you're just starting out, I want you to think about like the who, the what, the where, the why, and the how, right? So it's an easy template to figure out what keywords are going to be effective in getting somebody to your garment. So the who is who's going to be wearing it. This, for example, is somebody that is into minimalist fashion. This is also somebody that is into the eclectic grandpa aesthetic. This is also very clean girl aesthetic. So you want to make sure that you have those kind of keywords in your listing. You either want to have that in narrative form, like you're writing a paragraph about the item, or in list form. People will argue one way or another whether lists are more effective or narratives are more effective. I think either is fine on all of the platforms, so long as you're not like overdoing it. You're not stuffing like 40, 50 keywords into each listing, like above and beyond the norm. So the next one will probably be the most powerful, and that's the what. What are the physical descriptors about this? This is not just a cream sweater vest. This is a cream 100% cotton, open weave, oversized sweater vest that is sleeveless. It's got a deep V neck. So if you only put like cream vest, great condition, you're only going to get pulled into searches specifically when somebody types in cream vest. And when that happens, you're going to be up against every other cream vest in the world. What you want to make sure you're doing is putting every single descriptor in here so you're getting picked up by people who are searching for a cream sweater vest. You want to make sure that you're getting picked up by people who are looking for oversized sweaters, people who are looking for open knit sweaters, that are looking for V-neck sweater vests, etc., etc. So the next one up would be wear. And it's not super applicable to something like this, but you can think about it in terms of like, is this something that somebody would buy to wear specifically to a destination? Think like the Kentucky Derby. So if you're selling fancy hats, you want to make sure that you've got Kentucky Derby in there as a keyword. Things like Coachella, is this like a festival style thing? Or is somebody going to wear this to Coachella or Burning Man? So think about things like that. It does, this, maybe I would use golf for a wear, but this is more of a general wear thing. So you don't have to have every keyword category in there, but if there is one applicable, you want to make sure to use it. The Kentucky Derby is like the perfect example. The next category is why. And this is a little bit of an ambiguous one, but think in terms of like snow gear. So say you have a rain jacket. You want to make sure that you've got like rain and, extreme weather and stuff like that. If there's any kind of why applicability to your item, you want to make sure that that is listed as well. Now, when is something that's going to tie really kind of closely to wear, but think more in terms of seasonality. Is this like an Easter dress? Is this a Christmas sweater? This is a perfect example of something that's got a good when keyword. This is a little like vintage 90s denim top, but it's got this adorable like fall embroidery on it, right? So this is a fall or Halloween. That's a perfect example of like a when that you would use. So I would say fall embroidery, Halloween motif, fall motif. You catch my drift there. The why in terms of apparel is going to be largely connected to things that are more utilitarian, i.e., are you selling a motorcycle jacket? Why are you wearing a motorcycle jacket? You're wearing that for spinal protection. That's a keyword. You're wearing that for road rash protection. That's a keyword. Say you sell items and not clothing. That's really where the why is going to come in handy. So like, for example, I've got this microphone from Blue Yeti. Why am I using this? I'm using this for podcasting. I'm using this for voiceovers. I'm using this for voice recording, so on and so forth. So that's your who, your what, your when, your where, and your why. And again, I promise you this feels very arduous right now, but as you start to do it, this is going to be a lot easier. It's just going to come second nature. It's just going to be how you think. So I mentioned earlier that there is such a thing called keyword stuffing. You don't want to go overboard, and this is really just a learned thing. For the most part, as long as you're not stuffing this with like 80 or 100 keywords, I think you'll be pretty good. Doing any true intentional keyword practicing is going to put you head and shoulders above 90% of people on the platform. So any work in this kind of direction is going to impact the visibility of your listings really positively. So what do you think? Let's do one together. I chose something out of my closet that I think has a lot going for it, that are things that would get pulled out when doing that process, but I can also see somebody just listing this as Rachel Zoe white linen dress. There's a lot more to it than that, and there's a lot more ways to get eyeballs to it than just having a white linen dress and competing against every other white linen dress in the world. So I'm recording my screen here, and I use Vendoo, as you can see. Vendoo is a cross-lister. If you are somebody who wants to be listed on multiple different platforms, I cannot recommend a cross-lister enough. I love Vendoo. I've been using it for a long time. I know that Posh Sidekick, which is my Poshmark virtual assistant of choice, they're freaking amazing. amazing. I know that they also have a platform. I haven't made the jump yet. I probably will sometime soon, but I'll have links to both of these down below if that is something you have not looked into and you are already like cross-listing all of your items. I couldn't throw this money at them fast enough. It saves you so much time. So much time. I mean, really, you'll see how fast I can write and list this on 4 different platforms. So here we are, we've got our product photos already loaded in. So when it comes to the title, and this is gonna be really your money words. So if this has a name, something from like Free People always has a name, the Lonely Hearts top or whatever, you always wanna see if you can find that name because people will search for things by name. But in the absence of that, you really wanna use your like key descriptive words here in this space. So I always like to start with the designer's name in all caps. That's just kind of how I do it. I think it visually allows it to like jump out a little bit more. So Rachel Zoe, and then a lot of people would look at this and say, okay, this is a white linen dress, but there's a lot more to it than that. So then we're gonna add in white linen, it's midi length. So I'm gonna put midi in there, dress with braided straps, racer back, leg slits. And then I like to put the size at the end. So that's got all of the real key descriptors. This is going to show up in searches for a white linen dress. It's going to show up in searches for a white linen midi dress. It's going to show up for searches for a linen midi dress. It's going to show up in searches for racer back linen dresses. You kind of get what I'm going for here, but what you're really trying to do is make sure that the search algorithm has as many opportunities as possible to get your listing into search results. And when it's somebody looking for something that's very specifically like this, you want to make sure that it's at the top of those results. So this is really what we're doing here. So my next thing that I always tell people to do is I just copy the title and copy it right into the body. And then we're going to start our descriptive keywords now. So for this, I would put 100% linen. I would put midi length. I would put racer back. I would put braided straps. I would also put double straps. I would put trapeze silhouette. This is kind of a loose and flowing silhouette. I would also put swing silhouette because people call that same silhouette 2 different things. And then I would put leg slits on both sides. Obviously, you're going to put your own personal spin on this. This is just how I create my listings, but I am taking you through that kind of keyword process. I'm always going to put, this one's brand new with tags. And then I'm going to put women's size XL. So now it's time to get into those who, what, when, where, why keywords. So we've already kind of covered most of the what. We'll touch on that in a minute, but let's start with the who. Who's going to wear this? This is a white dress, so it's going to be a bride, a bachelorette. The what. Now the physical descriptors we've already more or less covered, but in this area, now you can also fold these into kind of more of a narrative format up top, but for all intents and purposes, let's also add style descriptors on here. So this is very much a boho dress. So you want to put in boho and bohemian. This is also very beachy, very coastal. If this fits into any kind of aesthetic, you want to make sure you put that here. So clean girl. This is very quiet luxury. This is coastal grandma. And this is pretty unique to a white dress, but something worth mentioning. Little white dress is a great keyword. It is something that certain companies are starting to use as a category of dresses, just like we always had little black dresses. Now you have little white dresses because people getting married, they're in that season of life, they're looking for a lot of different white dresses, and they don't all necessarily want them to be bridal dress level. So something like this would be perfect for like a bachelorette party on the beach. So you want to type in little white dress and LWD, just like you do little black dresses. So that's the what covered. The when is gonna, you think about like when you're gonna wear this. You know, this is a summer dress and you would wear it in the sun. Next is the where. Where are you wearing this to? So this would be bachelorette party. This would also be a cocktail party. You would also be wearing this on vacation. And resort wear. So for the why category, this isn't something that has a particularly utility spin to it versus something like a Carhartt pair of pants. So a why for a Carhartt pair of pants, for example, would be workwear, protective, etc., etc., etc. So for this, I think we've got a pretty great keyworded listing description here. So next you're going to go into fill in the brand. And this is just a little walkthrough of Vendu if you've never seen it before. It's fantastic. This is brand new with tags, white primary color. So this is another important place to put keywords. Now, each different platform has different amounts of keywords. They have different formats. You can't use special characters. Some of them can't be over a certain amount. But for our purposes, I like to put at least 3 of my like top level keywords on here. So I would do a white linen midi dress. I would do little white dress. And then I would do white racerback sundress. So that's gonna pick up sundress, racerback, white linen, little white dress, midi dress. It's got all the real key things that people are gonna be typing in. But always make sure to have the tags filled in. Like anywhere you can put a keyword because that helps. It all helps feed the algorithm. Quantity, you do your category. So for this, it's gonna be clothing, women, dresses, and then this is an XL, size type is regular, do your package size, ooh, not that heavy. And then you put in your price, and then that's it. If you need any internal labeling, you can do that there, but that's it. And then you just click save, and that's it. That's how you keyword a listing. And you know, again, as you get better at this, as you do this a couple times, I promise this will start to become second nature to you. And don't get hung up on having like the most complete thing. Even doing some is going to give you an edge in your listings. Really thinking about things in this terms, who's wearing it, why are they wearing it, where are they wearing it to? These are the kind of things that people put in the search bar. So even if you put one keyword for each of those categories, or even if you just really spend a lot of time and put the effort into figuring out like the physical descriptors, that's like 50% of the work. Everything else is going to be ancillary, but it does help build into it. But don't think too deep about it. You know, give it a good 2 minutes maybe per listing, and I promise as you do it more, it will just become easier and easier and easier. But that's it, guys. That is the practice of using SEO concepts to effectively keyword your listings. Again, these practices are going to be effective in every single platform. You're not using any trickery. You're really just taking you, the seller, out of it and putting yourself in the buyer's shoes and thinking about what the buyer is going to be typing into the search bar to find your item. That's it. That's the core of it. And don't get too hung up on having to have as many as you think. Even if you just have 3 keywords and a really well fleshed out descriptive paragraph or list, that's going to give you an edge over, you know, the vast majority of fellow sellers out there. So I hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions or need any clarifications about things that I said in this video, don't hesitate to put them in the comments down below. I'll try to be all over them and answer them as quickly as possible. Also drop your tips. If you've had any keywords that you found popping off, let us know down below. Let's help raise the tide for all of the resellers in this game. But guys, if you found this informative, consider leaving a like on this video. Don't forget to subscribe. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet. If that sounds like something you are into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But guys, without further ado, happy hunting, happy selling, happy listing. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you in the next one.